Forgive me, Father, for I have not ranted in a week or more. And as I'm sitting here, I feel a rant coming on. I don't know if that's good or bad. And this one's going to be all over the place. So if you don't like to hear a rant that's incoherent maybe and all over the place, then this is your time to check out. If you don't want to hear strong emotions, maybe even strong language sprinkled in here or there, it's time for check out. If you're a pro-Black and you don't want to hear the truth, the hardcore truth about us and our situation, you don't want to get triggered, it's time for you to check out. Okay, right now. Okay, you've been warned. Like I said, I feel a rant coming on. Now, I've been hearing this slow dismantling of what used to be the manosphere that was firmly planted in RedPill ideology, and now it's slipping back into blue pill, or seemingly so. I wouldn't even say that the vast majority of people are slipping back into blue pill. I think they're trying to shift. Newcomers are coming in trying to shift red to purple and purple back to blue, using certain tactics, certain ideologies that are basically unprovable. And this is happening in the whole manosphere. I was just listening to Roland Tomasi. He's seeing it, that it's not just happening in the Black sphere, it's happening all over the so-called manosphere, because the men that they need to hold this structure together are leaving, and they're trying to figure out where have the men gone. And what they're finding out is that the men as a group, whether they say it or not, whether they claim it or not, whether they're online or not, are leaving for red pill spaces. And the red pill message is what they need to bring these men back into some kind of order. And this is a white guy. This is Roland Tomasi. This is not a Black person. This is not a Black YouTube figure, because Roland Tomasi has just gotten on to YouTube. Roland Tomasi was not a YouTube figure in the manosphere. Roland Tomasi is one of the pillars of the red pill space as we know it today, the modern red pill space. And I am seeing the same thing that's going on in the Black Manosphere, probably for the same reason. Men are leaving, and there are no men to carry out the projects that the community, whatever you want to call it, needs for them to carry out. And the message that they're using is falling on deaf ears. So just like what's going on in the white manosphere, same thing happened in the Black manosphere. You have new actors coming into red pill spaces to recruit the men back. The difference between the white manosphere spaces and the Black manosphere spaces is the white manosphere spaces are trying to weave red pill language in and soothe these white men to come back to the white civilization and live their former blue pill lives. Now, in the Black manosphere, which is something that I can't fathom, I don't get, especially amongst our conscious community or our pro-Black community. And maybe it's because we're raised by a different kind of woman, and this is a gynocracy, is that I'm listening to them try to appeal to Black men that have so-called, they're on the fence and so-called have left the blue side of the blue pill spaces for red pill spaces, and try to appeal to them not by infusing words of reason, but by shaming. And I've heard, shout out to Gab, because I like Gab. I was listening to Gab, and that's probably part of what triggered me. You're telling me that you don't have to have facts, or you don't have to research anything to argue against what we're saying. And that's fine. If we're debating, that's fine. If you're having an argument, that's fine, and you believe what you believe. The thing at the end of the day, if you already believe what you believe, nobody's trying to convince you, Gab, to come over to the other side. Nobody's gone over into pro-Black areas trying to pull people back to red pill side. We're not trying to convince you. That is the issue that, I thought was my last ramble, because it wasn't a rant. I said it wasn't going to be a rant. This is going to be a rant. I thought it was clear the last time that I spoke about this. This was yesterday. The secret is that nobody convinced these guys in these red pill spaces to be over here. There wasn't no sales pitch. There is no, it's going to be better at the end of the rainbow. There is no, we're going to get you more pussy. There is no, we're going to make you more money. There is no, we're going to make the community better. There is none of that. None of that happened. None of that went on. We didn't sell people to be here. That's what you're not getting. The rhetoric that we have is not selling people to be here. We're not going over in pro-black spaces, advertise and say, hey, it's better over here in the red pill space. Nobody did that. Nobody held up a flag and a banner with a whole bunch with 10 amendments and 30 other points saying this is what you're going to have if you come over to red pill space. Nobody said that. The environment created red pill men. The environment is creating red pill men. And we tell red pill men, it is what it is. We didn't create it. You're probably not going to change it. And all we're doing is warning you that this is what the reality is, and this is the probable outcome according to historical patterns. You cannot unsee what you've already seen. And social media is all they're doing is exchanging notes. Did you see what I saw in LA over in Raleigh, North Carolina, or New York City, or Miami, Florida, or Dallas, Texas, or Houston, Texas? And it's coming back. Yes, we did. And yes, we're tired of the same bullshit that you're tired of. And the only thing that we told them is that if you don't like what you're getting, don't participate. It's the only thing we've ever said. If you don't like what you're getting, don't participate. If that woman and that scenario is not bringing you some kind of value, don't participate. It's really that simple. A lot of people try to make red pill so complex. It's like some people just came together and weaved a whole bunch of scenarios and lies together and just pulled the wool over these black guys' eyes. No bullshit. Nobody pulled anything over anybody's eyes. Most guys that come to red pill spaces look for it like I did. It's not that I couldn't get a woman. I had 4 of them. Yes, I had 4 of them. And I didn't like any one of the options that I was given. And I said, there has to be something else, because there is nothing satisfactory out there. There has to be something different, because what I'm seeing is fucked up. What I'm seeing with the attitudes and the way things are and the way the laws are, it's fucked up. I was never an incel. I became a vocel. They said, BGS, why did you stop doing that? I got tired of playing the goddamn game. So I took my dick and I went home and refused to play. I'm not doing that dance anymore. I'm not playing that game anymore. And there's no slight to people that still do it, because guys that are younger, first I'm telling them, my path is not your path. You are not old enough to walk my path. You have to walk a different path because you're young. You need to have sex. You need female companionship to some degree, because you are still at that age where it is a necessary part of your life. And that has always been part of the red pill, that you have options. And your job as a red pill man is to take the best set of options for you. No matter what color you are, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what your profession is, no matter what your income level, you take the best option for you that works for you. So a lot of these acronyms popped up because they're trying to find an ideology that takes the best set of options for them and applies them in some kind of organized, meaningful way. Even though it sounds willy-nilly and it's all over the place and it sounds horribly complex, it is not. It is horribly simple. And the opponents of the red pill refuse to believe that it's horribly simple. And all we're doing is taking a complex world with simple principles, which is find the best options for you, and refining it into a procedure that we can actually work with. And different ideas are thrown back and forth to do that. Some guys said, hey, you know, it's easier for me to operate because I don't need to have a companion 24/7. I don't even have a companion once a week. Once every 3 months, I can get on a plane, take 2 weeks off or a week off, go get it all out of my systems, come back, and I'm good. There's tons of ways in between, all the way up to I'm going to live with a chick, have a couple of kids, and I'm going to sign a prenup or whatever I'm going to do, and that's the way I'm going to live my life. And nobody from a voluntary celibate person like me all the way up to a person that wants to have a family, nobody is actually questioning their will or wants to do anything. I'm Red Pill. That has nothing to do with me wanting or me serving my community. Nothing. Zero. Because that's something that I want to do. Not forced to do, not obligated to do, that I want to do. And like-minded people like me that are also Red Pill that want to serve the community, we will do it in a capacity that works for us. There's people that don't. And the people that don't want to do it, I understand. And they understand the risk by not doing it. They fully accept it. If I'm not part of the community, I have to take what I take in the broader society. And I have to take it and work my way out of it because guess what? I'm no longer part of the Black community. And I have to understand that. I have to operate like I'm not. But you're trying to sell or shame Black men because they're not necessarily serving the Black community, which is bullshit. You're trying to convince Black men to come back and serve Black women, which is really what you're trying to do, undercover, because it's not a negotiation, because Black women don't have anything to negotiate with. And increasingly, as this economy rolls on, they have less and less and less to negotiate with. You know that. That's why it never comes up. So the arguments that I'm hearing is that if you act like this ideal man that you prop up and you compare it to other men, because that's the only way you can do it, you have to have a competition between men, which is something I was telling Kara last week. He was telling me the exact opposite. No, Black women, do not compare you to other men. Lo and behold, guess the shaming tactics that we hear, but the shaming tactics that we've heard for the last 60 years. Shaming tactic is that you are not operating like these men in these other cultures. And until you operate like these other men in these other cultures, guess what? You're going to be unsuccessful and you're not a man. You are a man not, to borrow Tommy Curry's eloquent title. And for 400 years, these collection of men, of males that have been sold by their own people, transported over here, treated horribly, and made to be the underclass of this country, still to this day, are expected to compete on an unlevel playing field, betrayed by their own women. And don't give me this bullshit that Black women didn't betray us. As soon as you could found a way that you could chuck us aside, you did. And I've heard the answer, why were families quote unquote stable, as stable as they probably could be until 1965, is because until 1965, Black women had no choice. There was no column A and column B, there was only column A. And they chafed under that choice even back then. You can hear it in their own stories. You don't have to believe me. Every time you pick up a woman's book or Black woman's book, they chafe under that reality. That they're actually bound to a man that they don't respect or maybe not even like. And according to Monahan's scissors, according to all the white bureaucrats, it amazed them that when things got better, the women didn't stay with them. You know, you notice that the white women, when things got better, they went back to their men. They stayed with their families. But when the Black people, the Black families started to get better. Poverty went way down. Poverty got cut by 2/3. Instead of stabilizing the black family, guess what it did? It unstabilized the black family. The women left. Why? They didn't need you no more. Which happened to be a canary in the coal mine. Since white people didn't understand it 40 years ago, they do now. Why? Because wealth is actually destabilizing their own families. And this is a phenomenon that's worldwide. But Gab, I am not going to put the chart up today because you said you don't need any facts. So for this rant, I'm not going to put up any either. You got to go look it up. So when I hear these shaming tactics that are calling black men pussies and black men bitches and black men this, that, and the other for not holding together a black community that black women really don't want, really try to destroy it from the inside because they're following the opportunities that their white sisters have. And if you don't believe that the black and white sisterhood exists, look at the trial of Amber Geiger. Those black women hugged and played in Amber Geiger's hair in Dallas and didn't care that the cameras were there. Still exist. The Miss Ann syndrome still exists because Amber Geiger has blonde hair and blue eyes, and they can't wait to touch it, hug it, and appeal to Miss Ann. So now you're trying to make black men feel guilty about their lack of ability to do anything, even though they didn't train themselves. They weren't given very much. And the women that they were given are uncooperative, but they're supposed to all of a sudden make these women cooperative by controlling an environment they have never controlled. All of a sudden, you're supposed to control an environment that you never control. You're supposed to seize power that you've never had. And you're not a man not until you do. And at the end of the day, if you happen to get lucky enough to seize power and get lucky enough to control your environment, guess what your prize is going to be? The woman that really didn't want you in the first place and has shown you disrespect and contempt. That's your prize, really. So we're supposed to move heaven and hell, which is basically white supremacy or what's left of it, level the ground and rebuild a society just so we can get cooperation from women that don't want to give us cooperation. Give us a prize of unknown value. Like if the black woman cooperates with the black man, all of a sudden the heavens are going to open up. Manna's going to drift down. Milk and honey is going to flow down the rivers. All of a sudden a paradise, a black paradise will open up because black women actually want to cooperate. If that is the case, and that is the result, wouldn't you think that black women would cooperate and negotiate and say, hey, look, if we cooperate together, the heavens will open up, manna will float down, the waters will be clean, milk and honey will flow everywhere, and basically we will start a new era and it'll be prosperous and enjoyable for everybody. You're trying to sell us something that the women don't even believe. We have to create that atmosphere before they even will accept it. So their cooperation is unnecessary. If we can create it by ourselves, we don't need them. What do we need them for? Any woman will do. If we create this magical oasis of black people, any woman will do. We don't need them. In fact, it's probably better if we don't get them. Because if they don't like it, they'll tear it down like they did before. You're telling us we don't need them. We should prove to them something that we have to do by ourselves so that they will come. So no, we got to do all this shit without them for their approval. And the guys on the RedPill side said, why should we do that? Why do we need their approval? Why do we need their stamp? Why do we need to convince them to listen to us? Most black guys would rather that the shit just worked and we wouldn't even have to talk to them. All we really need their submission or their cooperation is not to rule over them. We just need their cooperation so the shit will run right. If black women don't want shit to run right, then you know what? We need to go find women that do want shit to run right. If black women were on board with shit running right and being cooperative and being peaceful and being happy and being all this kind of stuff that you actually project that should happen, then it would be an easy sell. You could just simply say, Black man, you have the best woman for you. She's cooperative. She's industrious. She's faithful. She's loyal. She's all those things, qualities that you look for in a woman that will make a solid, happy family. Everything you look for is in your own woman already. All you got to do is walk over to the other side of the bridge and get her, because she's already ready to package and ready to cooperate. You ain't got to do all that fucking work. You ain't got to convince her shit. She's already ready. That's an easy sell. It's like you walk into a car dealership and you have two lots. You have a used car lot and you have a brand spanking new car lot. What's the difference? The used car lot, you walk over to it and the guy says, you know what? This would be a nice car, but the thing is, it needs a lot of work. You got to do engine work, make sure that it runs right. Transmission needs to be rebuilt. The tires are okay. The upholstery is nice, okay? Look at the way it looks. It needs a little paint, but the upholstery is nice. Look at the body shape. Now you're gonna have to change the steering because the steering is off. You might have to tweak the frame, because if you roll down the street in this car, basically you're gonna see 4 tire patterns. And anytime you try to turn, it's gonna wobble. To get over 60 miles an hour, the wheels are gonna vibrate. Okay, you have to fix the frame and fix all that kind of stuff. But once you get it done, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna have a beautiful car that that's an envy of everybody. It'll be perfect for you after you put in all this work. Then you're gonna scratch your head and say, what is it gonna cost me, man? And it shows you a price tag. It's not even a discount. It's actually gonna cost you more. So you walk over to the new car dealership, right? Salesman walks up and says, welcome, sir. I know exactly what you want. And he sits you in the car. It's got 6 miles on it. And you ask him, does this car have any problems? And the guy says, problems for what? There's no problems, brand new car. It's in the showroom. Paint's nice, brand new engine, 6 miles on it. It's been tested at the factory. All the options are in it already. You got your nice stereo. You got the color that you want. Maybe the color's a little off, a little bit. You know, you can get it painted if you don't really like the color. But is the color acceptable? Yeah, man, you know what, the color's cool. So, and when in the used car, when you started up the engine, it made a lot of noise and it rattled and knocked and stuff like that. And basically, it hurt your ears because, you know, you couldn't trust that engine. So you go over to the new car, I'll say, hey, man, well, turn it on, let me hear it. Guy turns the key. Now you heard the thing start and think, wait a minute, is it running? You know that new car, a brand new car when everything's factory tightened and tuned. And you have to put your ear to the hood to hear it. So, man, is this thing running? He said, yeah, it's running. So he lifts the hood and you see the little belts, you know, going like 1,000 miles an hour. And you hear this whisper. That car is showroom ready. It's street ready. All you got to do is sign the papers and drive it out and keep regular maintenance on it, and you're good. You might have that car 20 years and nothing happen to it. It came ready. So you're trying to compare women that come ready without a story, without a whole bunch of work, without you having to put in a whole bunch of work just to get it running, just to get it running right. It comes off the showroom floor running right already. And you tell the new car guy, you know what? I told the man at the used car lot that I would give him a decision today. So you get on the phone, you call the dude. Say, hey man, you know what? Found this new car, the price is right, never been driven, runs fine. The engine is so smooth, I can't believe it. I can't even hear the damn thing. And the guy, salesman at the used car lot, all of a sudden he gets started. You know what? You know, I understand that the new car is better. I understand that it's smoother. I understand that it does exactly what you want right off the lot with almost zero work. All you got to do is make the payments. With this car over here, you got to understand that it has a story. That the Carfax says it's been in a storm and a couple of hurricanes and it's been hit a couple times and it's been damaged. And it's not the car's fault that it's been damaged. It's not the car's fault that it doesn't run right. The last owner didn't take care of the engine. And so that's how come it knocks. So you should reconsider, because it's really not the fault of the car that the condition of the car is the way it is. And you should weigh that when you're trying to buy this new car that has zero work. What are you going to tell that dude? Hey, dude, I didn't wreck the car. I didn't damage the car. It wasn't my fault that it got knocked out. I didn't do it. I had no power to do it. I had no power to do it to the car. I wasn't the owner. So the story that you gave me is irrelevant because I am not to blame for the condition that the car is in. Well, sir, I know that you're not to blame. Well, then why are you trying to get me to buy a car that's not suitable for my needs just because it's in a condition that I had nothing to do with? What does that sound like? Sounds exactly the story that they tell you about black women, that she is not responsible for the condition she's in. And everybody knows that she's not. She's not responsible for her. She is responsible for her behavior. But she's not responsible for the conditions that developed her behavior, that developed her problems. Of course she's not. Everybody agrees. No black man would tell you that that black woman is responsible for the conditions that her and her forebears came up in. No, they're not. Also, what they forget to include, neither are you. That's what they can't argue. Neither are you. We're only responsible for what is now. Well, we were always loyal to you, blah, blah, blah. No, it wasn't, because when you had a chance, you took the better deal. You would take the better deal if you had the chance. You're taking the better deal now. Black women are trying to go with white Ann and ride her coattails to power over and above you. It's not the first time that it happened. So we need to be honest about the situation that we're in and come to the table with the truth so we can actually work this stuff out. And the reason that we're even at the table is because men are willing to listen. We know that it's not your fault. We know that the situation that you and we are in is not our fault. Okay? None of our faults from the beginning to end. That bullshit that we were conquered is bullshit. The thing that we failed to protect you and us is bullshit. We were sold by people that look like us into this situation that we're in. There's nothing that you could have done. Zero that you could have done. You're not one from big group of people that came in, got conquered, and got pushed out. It wasn't like that. You were sold from many different villages and many different places. You were kidnapped, sold, however the fuck you got here, that's how you got here. How your ancestors got here. There's 1,000 different stories. You wound up here, you got put into a class. They brought the women over as concubines to produce more. And now we got over here with no culture, no history, no nothing. And now we have to figure it out. We all have to figure it out. So blaming black men for this stuff is stupid. It's idiotic. It's bullshit. They're not to blame for it. Just like you're not to blame for it. Black men are not to blame. That's first thing. Just like you're not to blame for the situation that you're in because you have absolute zero control over it. Same thing with black men. We're not to blame for the condition that you're in either. It has nothing to do with manhood. If it had something to do with manhood, Africa wouldn't have got conquered. China wouldn't have got conquered. Russia wouldn't have got put on its knees. Germany wouldn't have been defeated. Japan wouldn't have been on its knees. The Philippines wouldn't have been on its knees. Mexico wouldn't have been on its knees. Okay? That shit happens. Happens to all men, all groups of men, including white people. When the Moors came in and conquered white people, there's nothing they could have done. They had to get blended in acceded to the time. It is what it is. All men go through this shit. To say that you're less of a man because this shit happened to you, not one singular group of men. You are formed as a class. You're pushed in together into the same pen. To say that we're here to protect you, that's hogwash. You can leave that shit alone right now. You can kick that myth to the curb. When we were sent over here, we were brought over to work. When you were sent over here, you weren't brought over as our women. You were brought over as his women, as the white man's women. That's what you were brought over here for. You just got assigned to us because he didn't need you anymore. And now all of a sudden, we're supposed to be responsible for your history of slavery. It's bullshit. Don't even throw that out anymore. Kick that to the curb. Let's start fresh. Let's start with the truth. There was never a negotiation with us. There was never a unwritten code between black men and black women. Now there has to be, but it cannot be if you're going to try to blame us for shit that didn't happen. Now, to black men's credit, they did try to get out of the situation they were in and pull you along with them, which they did. History is replete with black men going to war, fighting, trying to free themselves and free you right along with them against all odds. But black men never get credit for that. They don't get credit for that. They get credit for, oh, we wouldn't have wound up here if it hadn't been for you. Okay. I'm telling black men, you know what? If that is the case and that's what you believe, I say, you know what? Let them have it. Fine. We didn't protect you. The reason that you got over here is because of us and everything's our fault. Fine. Reduce our credit score. Put our credit score to 0. Fine. Now our credit score is 0. Guess what? We don't want to buy you anymore. We don't want what you're selling because we're free. You said that what we did in the past is nothing and it means nothing. Our shared history is nothing and none of that counts. Fine. Okay. We're no good. We're not worth anything. Fine. That means you don't want us. Good. Now we're free to go someplace else. We don't have to listen to you. We don't have to listen to what you're selling. Oh, but the black community. No, you just said that none of the stuff that we've done in the past against all odds means anything. So if the stuff that we've done in the past doesn't mean anything, if we do it now, guess in 10 years what it's going to mean? Nothing. If all the stuff that we've done in the past to pull black folks out of the morass of the lower classes and try to give everybody a chance, try to give black people a chance, not only for you, but for ourselves, and that means nothing, what makes us believe that it's going to mean something in the future? You can't respect the stuff that we've already done. So what makes us think you're going to respect the stuff that we're getting ready to do? Past performance is a predictor of the future, predictor of future performance. Past performance says at the first opportunity that you think that you can get a leg up, you will throw us under the bus. That's what the past says. Well, no, we didn't. Well, then prove it. Prove that you didn't throw us under the bus. Prove it. Oh, we don't have to prove it because we're women. Really? Is that what we're going with? That women don't have to prove anything? They just have to be? And who says that? Because no place else in the world says that, except the black community. The women ain't got to do shit. Women don't have to prove anything. Women ain't got to cooperate. Women don't have to submit. Women ain't got to do nothing. All the black men have to show and prove. The black men have to climb over that wall, as K. Michelle says. If you can't climb over the wall, then you need to stay on the other side of the wall. And black men say, you know what? Guess what? I've peeked over that wall and see what I'm getting. And guess what? What I'm going to get on the other side of that wall is inadequate. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay on this other side of the wall and see what else is out there. Let me go find me another wall that's a little lower. In fact, let me find a place where there's a stair step, where there's a ladder already laid out for me. Why should I struggle? Oh, you're a man. Man is supposed to struggle. Bullshit. If man is supposed to struggle, we'd still be walking everywhere. We'd still be riding horses and cows or whatever we could find on the back of animals going from one side of the country to the next. We invent stuff so that we don't have to struggle. That's what they call progress. The modern society is built on not struggling. You don't have to go through famine anymore because the famine has been eliminated because of modern society. There's plenty of food. So much food they throw it away. Now the reason that people even hungry in the United States is because of profit. Because if they give the food away, it drives the profit margin down. Same thing with healthcare. It drives the profit margin down, and otherwise they'd make it cheaper. That's another rant for another day. The reason that you progress is so that you don't have to struggle. That's why black women don't struggle. That's how they can choose the direction they want to go. And you know what? And I'm going to say this. Black women have every right to choose the man that's best for them. Every right to choose whatever man is best for them. No matter what color he is. They have to choose. They have a right to choose. They have a right to choose their preference, their color, their lineage, whatever the thing, whatever factors that mean something to them. They have every right to choose it. But so do the men. Just because they choose doesn't mean we have to choose them or choose the factors that we engage upon. Nobody died and left you in charge. And your agents and your salesmen, they have, I'm going to tell you, their pitches suck. If I were you and I had them as pitchmen, I had them as agents, I would tell them that their pitches suck. Their sales pitches suck. And you tell us every day that you don't really care about what we think and what we want, because stuffing your face with cheap food and not being healthy is more important to you than attracting us. You're not even trying to attract us. You're not even concerned because you don't think that we're worthy of it. And you show it to us every day that you don't think that we're worthy. And you say it to us. You come to my page and say that black men aren't worthy. In fact, I'm going to unblock some people. I'm going to start collecting it and posting it as a demonstration. I might even go back on Facebook and start collecting memes that show how black women think and feel about us. They think that we are not worth their time or worth their effort. And you know what? I have to agree with them. If they have a right to set their price and set their preferences, and if they tell us that we are inadequate for what they want and what they need, we have to accept it. Take our little bruised egos and our penises and go home and rejigger and find women that are willing to accept the price that we're willing to offer. If I can't afford an overpriced truck, an old Mercedes, because the price is too high and it doesn't meet my needs, like the used car salesman, and I don't want to put in work to get it up to snuff, you know, hell, they're selling this nice little Toyota or this Brazilian car that will get me from A to B, and it runs fine and at half price. Let me go check this out so I can actually get on the road to being happy, because the pursuit of happiness is what it's all about. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Legacy comes after that. Driving yourself to the point of suicide and not living your life, the life that you have, makes no sense. And I'm gonna end with this. I hear legacy, I hear generational wealth, I hear all that bannered about what black people don't produce or people don't produce, period, right? That what black men should do. And that should be the driving reason that they go back and struggle and they sacrifice themselves. And I have no problem with that. I'm gonna tell you up front, I have no problem with that. But I'm gonna go esoteric on you. Your legacy didn't come from man. Your legacy didn't come from your group. Your legacy came from your creator. What is your legacy? Your legacy is the ability to be on this plane and breathe air and have an opportunity to be content and to be happy. That is your legacy endowed upon you by your creator. And the excesses of your happiness and your contentment and your well-being can be passed down to the next generation, so they will have a foothold to be happy and content and well-being, which adds to the legacy that their creator has endowed upon them. Your ultimate goal, your ultimate legacy is to be content, is to be happy. Not work yourself to the grave, work your fingers to the bone, to the point where you're going to put a bullet in your mouth or basically slit your wrists because you're so fucking unhappy, and blow the legacy, the ultimate legacy that your creator gave you, so somebody else can be happy. That's backwards. Ultimately, your life is yours, not your children's, not your woman's, not your community's, okay? Your life is yours. An expression of your life adds to your community, adds to your women, adds to your children. Because that's an enhancement of what? Your happiness, your contentment. And if it doesn't make you happy and doesn't make you content, you shouldn't do it. I don't care what nobody says. If it doesn't make you happy, doesn't make you content, doesn't help you sleep at night, shouldn't do it. Don't let people tell you that you're a bitch made or you're not a man or any kind of other bullshit because you won't do what they're asking you to do. because you won't serve their agenda. Bullshit. A man serves his own agenda. Point blank, period. That's what a man does. Rich people do it all the time. Your betters, that we call the wealthy, don't go around thinking they're going to serve you or serve your community. I'm not saying be selfish. I'm not saying don't share. I'm not saying any of that. That should come out of your excess, not your primary. That is your spare. That is your spare happiness. That woman should make you happier, not miserable. Your children should make you happier, as mine did. I enjoyed my children. I would not trade any of my children for anything. The stuff that I had to go through for my children, I did. And I did it because I loved my children. They made my life better. In spite of the women, I put up with the women because my children made my life better. They made me happy. I did not take care of my children or serve my children because they were a miserable pain in the ass. They were not. My children made me happy. I still enjoy my children. I still love my children even to this day, even though they're adults. Even my grandchild, even though I have to sit there and struggle with him to do his work because of the love that I have for him and the love that he has for me, it does something to me. It enhances my life. It doesn't make it worse. That's why I do it. I don't do it just for him. I do it because it enhances me. It enhances my life. It makes me happy. Same people, reason people buy a dog. They don't buy the dog so they can feed him and eating poops all over the place. They buy the dog. They take care of the dog. They have the dog as a pet because the dog enhances their life. I have children because not to compare children to a dog because children enhance my life. They always have. I have never had issues with having children. I've had a great family that has helped me raise them, which made the enhancement better. But the thing is, I've never had issues with my children. They made me happy. One thing I was not going to do is struggle for an ideal because I had a child. If my ex has done it, she did it for a year. You take them out of my life, okay, well, fine, take them out of my life. I am not going to fight you and be miserable to have a child. I'm not going to be miserable fighting you over no kid. You don't want me to see the kid, and I got to fight you to see the kid. Guess what? I don't need the kid. Here's my child support. I'm paying you to leave me the fuck alone. Child support is paying you to leave me the fuck alone. Stay the fuck away from me. So I can go on and be happy doing something else. I'm paying you for my happiness. If I can't enjoy my children, enjoy being a father, take them someplace else. I am not wedded to an ideal that somebody else imposed on me. Because an ideal is a construct that somebody else imposes on you that you didn't make up and you don't have to follow. The thing is, you do not have to follow somebody else's ideal. You don't have to follow somebody else's ideal of a community. If the community does not serve you, does not make you happy, does not keep you safe, does not serve you in a broader context, and people cannot prove to you where this community is actually going to serve you and benefit you, you don't have to do that shit. That's an ideal that they have, that they have to sell you on. They have to sell you on that stuff. They can't shame you, say you're supposed to accept it. Bullshit. Prove it. Well, I ain't got to prove nothing. Yes, you do. Well, look back in history. There's a reason that people had a community back in history. Those reasons don't exist today. That's a theory. Prove the goddamn theory. Because history doesn't match up what the fuck you're talking about. It doesn't. Anyway, I'm going to end this rant by saying culture's a construct. Ideals are a construct made up by people. Communities are made up by people that have a contract with one another of mutual benefit. The Black community is made up of people that have a mutual benefit. They come together to get things done that will benefit one another. Not for you to sacrifice yourself on something that you're not going to get anything out of. That's bullshit. It never was that way. No community exists that way. No community exists to where they extract something out of somebody else at their benefit. If you don't get something out of this, then no, you don't have to participate in the community. I would never tell you that. You have to believe that you're getting some kind of benefit out of the community or being in this collection that we call a community, a subculture, or being Black that's going to benefit you, enhance your life, and by an extension, your family's life. And if it does not, then you have every right not to be in it. And nobody can shame you to be in it just because of your color. Africans are the same color. They have no bonds to this community. That should tell you something. And they have more of the melanin than you do. Because when they sold your ass here, the melanin in your skin didn't mean shit. Did it? Anyway, it's gone on long enough, and this is probably a stream of consciousness that probably could last 2 hours. And I know people do live streams, where they go on and on and on and on and on for 2 hours. And they jump all over the place just like I am. So forgive me for ranting. And I don't think I cussed, did I? Well, I might not have. So this might not be a rant. This might just be a ramble. But you decide. Put it in the comment section. Was this a rant or was this a ramble? If you make it this far. I'll know by what you put in the comment section whether you made it this far or not. And I don't expect like I said, when I first started doing this, I didn't expect anybody to listen to this. Thought you listen to the first 5 minutes and click off. If you do that, that's fine. If you listen to the first 2 minutes, figure it's not for you, and you click off, I ain't mad at you. This is my opinion. It's how I feel. It's how I see the world. It's how I see things. I am not the arbiter of truth. I am not the final judge, jury, and executioner of anything. Just one man's rant or ramble, however you want to put it. And that's it. With that, I'm going to jump off of here. Finally, it's BGS out, and I'll see you on the next rant. Peace.